Hello everyone, my name is Steven and welcome to Storytime. Today we're going to be reading some I Don't Work Here Lady stories. Tales of some of the most awkward, frustrating, or otherwise inconvenient exchanges one could have. And let me just say, if you're not already subscribed to Storytime, please consider doing so, but with that being said, let's sit back, relax, and listen to some captivating Reddit stories. I'm 9 months pregnant and wearing a suit. No, I don't work at this drugstore, sir. I was in a generic drugstore / pharmacy yesterday after work to pick up some sore muscle balm for my back. I'm 9 months pregnant and clearly heavily pregnant, doing the waddle and all, and dressed in a suit because my job requires it. Suit jacket unbuttoned because, lol, I haven't been able to close that for about 4 months now. I'm on the phone to my mom because she and I have a daily ritual of checking in with each other after work every day. I started doing it when she lived alone to make sure she was okay, then just continued doing it when she got a live-in boyfriend. As I'm walking up a random aisle to make my way to the counter to pay, talking to my mom with my cell phone in one hand and muscle balm in the other, a gentleman blocks me in the aisle and says, "Where are the razors?" Now he's looking right at me and we're the only two in the aisle, so I know he's talking to me, but I can't imagine why. I respond with, "I'm not sure. Pardon me though, I'd like to get by." Dude doesn't move, just stares at me for a minute. It's at this point when I have to ask my mom to hold on because I want all of my focus on this dude as I'm beginning to feel unease. Finally, "What do you mean you don't know?" I respond with, "Sir, I just came to get some muscle balm and would really like to pay for my purchase and leave. Please let me through the aisle." Then he takes another good, long look at me and finally says, "You don't work here?" At this point, I'm just annoyed, tired, and wanting to get on with my life. And my stomach is too big to squeeze past him because he still has not moved, so I get kind of snippy. "Sir, I'm 9 months pregnant and wearing a suit and heels while talking on my cell phone. What made you think I work here?" He finally just stared at me dumbfounded and stepped to the side a bit. So I waddled as fast as my fat pregnant butt could past him and booked it to the front cashier. Not super dramatic, but it really took me off guard because, well, I never thought I'd encounter someone so oblivious. Who knew? This dude reads to me like a zombie. Like, how do you not put two and two together? Does this person not think at all? They just see somebody and they're like, suit means work means must work. Do you where's the razors at? Like, I don't understand. Grumpy construction contractor yells at me because he be power trippin'. So I work a job as a service technician and I went to a new building that needed some warranty work done. It had been officially handed over to the owners, which is a hotel. The contractors were still running about doing deficiencies and odds and ends, but the hotel staff was on site training and such. I used to work for construction companies all the time, and I hated it because of the semantics of it all. They would be a stickler for rules inside the property at all times, but when it suited them, they would bend the rules. Hate that. Anyhow, this building had a door closed to where I was working, and I propped it open to go to my truck. Maybe 20 feet from the door itself, a 5-second walk. First contractor, head honcho on site, comes out and sees me on my phone out there and asks if I propped the door open. The thing is, there was another door propped open just on the other end of the hallway, but it led to a loading bay away from the street. It was okay to have that one open because there was a worker there. Semantics. I said, "Yes, just loading tools right now, but I don't want to walk all the way around the building as I have a lot of tools to bring in." This guy was reasonable and he said, "Sure son, not a problem, just please remember to close the door. We don't want a hooligan coming and stealing a TV or something." No problem, I can do this for you." Told him I'm not just a laborer who have the reputation for not being the smartest of people, but I'm a decently smart technician in a complicated trade. He laughs and goes, "Alright, that makes me feel better." Plus he called me son, so that was nice. He says, "Alright, as long as you're inside of that door and you aren't walking away, you can prop it open." Cut to maybe 10 minutes later and I'm on the phone outside, no reception in the building. In clear view of the door, and his sidekick foreman guy is there. Young dude, small tiny guy who tried hella hard to compensate. I could hear the way he was talking to his employees, the dude's a dick. I come inside as he's walking towards me and he goes, "Hey, don't prop that door open, got it?" I had time today. I didn't like being yelled at, so I simply said, "I'm right here. Don't worry, no one's getting in." Spoke with your boss, he said it's cool. He stops, all bewildered and such, and responds with, "Do not open that door again." I asked him why he was yelling, and he goes, "Hey, you listen to me when you're on this site, do you understand? I'm the boss and I don't want you questioning me again." This is where I goofed. I wasn't wearing my company shirt because it was hot in the room I was working in. I was in a crawl space above a kitchen, just had on a t-shirt. I simply looked at that guy and said, A, don't yell at me or speak to me like that again. B, I'm here on behest of the owners. I do not work for you guys in any shape or form. If you have a problem with me, go run to your boss or go to the owners and go tattle on me. He stopped and tried to say something, but you know when you've got someone dead to rights and they kind of just try to say something? Exactly this. This guy didn't know what to do at all. He eventually just walked away and I chuckled to myself. That was a great feeling, where you don't answer to someone when you don't represent the company to them. They can't say anything to you. You're working for the owners directly and it's not going to reflect negatively on your company to say, "Hey, don't yell at me." I swear, some people's lives suck so much that this is how they feel in control of your lives. It's always those little guys that have a tiny bit of power that think they're unstoppable. They think they can shut anybody remotely beneath them down, want to micromanage and be in control of every situation and demand this and that. I was happy to hear how OP knocked them off their little ledge. Security, step aside please. The current primary race reminded me of this event. In 2018, I volunteered on my state's lieutenant governor's campaign. So in 2019, an organization that I belonged to was having a state convention. Since I had volunteered on his campaign, I was asked if I could arrange for the lieutenant governor to speak at the group's convention. Luckily, the lieutenant governor was available to be the keynote luncheon speaker, so I was asked to be the one to introduce them. I was not able to attend the morning session of the convention, so I arrived shortly before the luncheon but prior to the lieutenant governor arriving. So the event chairman took me into the luncheon room to show me where I would be sitting and where the lieutenant governor would be sitting during lunch, and we went over a few details. I then went out and waited for the lieutenant governor to arrive. I was standing where I could watch the door he would use to enter the building, and I had a Bluetooth earpiece in one ear listening to an audiobook while I waited. I was dressed in professional attire and I had a lanyard around my neck with my driver's license and a few other items in it. Earlier, I had to go to a few government offices and didn't carry a handbag because they always have to be searched before entering those buildings. Anyway, while I was waiting, two older ladies, 70s plus, are standing near me and I realized they were discussing who I might be. They decided my Bluetooth was something like the Secret Service might wear and my lanyard must have a badge on the back side. Therefore, I must be part of the Lieutenant Governor's security detail. The Lieutenant Governor's security detail is a pair of uniformed state troopers. I don't think he needs too much more security. Of course, as soon as the Lieutenant Governor arrived, I went to greet him and let him and his assistant know that I would be showing them to their seats for the luncheon. I then went and stood by the banquet room doors while he went around shaking hands and greeting people. This seemed to confirm to the ladies that I was indeed part of his security detail. After the luncheon, they finally came up to speak to me and tell me how they were just sure I was part of the Lieutenant Governor's security detail because I looked so professional and in charge. And they were excited to see a woman in such an important position. We shared a laugh or two, and later that evening they each bought me a glass of wine since I was no longer on security detail. They turned out to be very sweet ladies who both enjoy reading Tom Clancy-style books. Nothing dramatic, just two older ladies looking for a little intrigue in their daily lives. This is a pretty cute and funny story, and I like hearing how the little ladies were discussing to themselves and trying to figure out the mystery the entire way through, and it all culminating with a nice little bow on the end with laughs shared and drinks and a good time. Got mistaken for a worker twice on the same outing. This happened when I was about 17. I started working in the service industry when I was 15, so I guess I just had that feeling about me. On this particular day, I went to a store that we'll call Malwart. In the stores in my area, most people wear khakis and a navy blue polo with the store logo on it. I was wearing ripped jeans and a red sweatshirt with a particularly well-known cartoon mouse on it, so definitely not the store uniform. My blue hair at the time probably also would give away the fact that I didn't work there. Anyway, on to the story. I was walking through the clothes section and a very confused looking woman comes up to me. "Do you know where the brand jeans are? I can't find them." Me shaking my head. "No ma'am, sorry." "Do you work here?" "Oh no, I don't." Woman even more confused. "Well, you seem like you do. Thanks anyway." She then just walked off to keep searching. Weird, but maybe I just seem helpful or that I know my way around a Walmart. I mean, I would consider myself to at least have the outward dignity to be considered a Target kind of guy. Not even 5 minutes after the interaction with the first woman, our next contender for most likely to be legally blind enters. Not quite like a Karen though, more like a Sharon, since she didn't attempt to assault me or get me fired from a job I don't have. "Where are the brand jeans?" "I'm not sure. I'm sure if you told my friend that you didn't know already. Just do your job and help me find them." "Oh, I'm sorry I couldn't help your friend. You can ask an employee though, I don't work here." "I'm sure you don't. All of you kids are the same. So lazy. Do your job already and find them for me." "I don't work here, ma'am." "Yes, you do." At this point, I'm close to just finding an employee myself when the first woman walks up holding some jeans victoriously. "Sharon, I found them. I told you they were around here somewhere." She then turns to me. "Sorry for bothering you, honey." And after Sharon gave me a weak glare, they left. Sorry, it's kind of anticlimactic, but I think it fits here, and just how dense some people can be is still shocking to me. How are you going to tell the first lady that you don't work there? They're going to at least somewhat acknowledge it, walk away, and then their friend's going to come up like, "No, you're lying to us, you really do work here." Who, if they're working at Walmart, would try to lie that they work there? Who would do that? What purpose is there? Do people really do that? Do they just lie that they work there just so they can get away with it? Maybe, but like most of the time I would think people that work at Walmart would not be trying to lie about it. I don't know. Maybe these ladies had some terrible trauma. Don't know which first aid product to buy? Just ask any person you see in scrubs. This is actually a positive experience of someone thinking I work somewhere. I was working the evening shift as a patient care tech in ER. After I left work, it was close to midnight and I decided to stop at the local 24-hour Walgreens to pick up a few items. Luckily, there was hardly anyone there at the time. I was headed to the back of the store when I saw someone wave me down in the first aisle. I figured he must have thought I was a pharmacy staff member because of the scrubs. "Excuse me, is this good product?" he asked with a strong accent, holding up a bottle of hydrogen peroxide. "Oh, sorry, I actually don't work here," I said. "I know, but you're a medical person," he said, gesturing to the scrubs. "Oh, sure, well, what do you need it for?" "I'm only a patient care tech, but I figured if he only needed pretty basic first aid advice, I could help him out." "For minor cut," he said. "Yeah, that works, just cover it with Neosporin and a band-aid," I said. "Okay, thank you so much." The guy was super nice, so I didn't really mind, though I'm not sure how qualified I am to be giving out medical advice. Okay, cards on the table, he probably didn't have a Russian accent, but I kind of wanted to break it out there when they said strong accent, so I went for it. It's not that great, but I wanted to throw it out there. It was a nice little story, and it wasn't something that was super medical sensitive, so the advice OP gave here was pretty good, and I'm glad overall that it was a positive experience. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening to and watching the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing and leave any feedback you can in the comments below and let us know what you thought about these stories. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.